Jihadists fighting in Syria are dissatisfied with the alleged military assistance being provided to them by America and are demanding a greater supply of advanced US weaponry. That's according to a commander from the Al-Nusra Front terror group speaking in an interview with a German journalist.
Yes, the US supports the opposition, but not directly. They support the countries that back us. However, we are still not satisfied with this support. They should support us with advanced weapons. We were winning the fights thanks to Tau missiles. With these, we gained parity with the regime. We received tanks from Libya via Turkey and multiple rocket launching systems too. The regime's only advantage is tactical aircraft, rockets and rocket launchers. We captured some of the rocket launchers and received a lot from abroad. Thanks to the Tau missiles, we are able to keep the situation under control in many areas.
According to the Al-Nusra Commander, the jihadists don't recognize a ceasefire in Syria and use it to regroup. He also told the German journalist that US instructors have been teaching radicals how to use new equipment.
We got the missiles directly. They were delivered to a certain group. When the road was closed and was encircled, we had officers from Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the US here.
Doing what?
They were experts on how to use satellites, missiles, reconnaissance operations, and thermal observation cameras.
Also American advisors?
Yes, there were experts from many countries.
Also American?
Yes.
Well, joining us now on RT International is that very journalist, Jürgen Todenhöfer, who spoke to the Al-Nusra Commander. Jürgen, firstly, thank you so much for coming onto the programme. You've recently returned from your journey to meet with the Al-Nusra group. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience that you had there?
The scenery was not very inviting. It was in a mine, in shooting distance of Jabhat al-Nusra forces, Al-Qaeda forces, in the no man's land between West Aleppo and East Aleppo. And there was a moment when our driver thought we were trapped. He said in the film, they got us, because I had an appointment with the commander, but I didn't know that he would come with 10 fighters. But after some minutes, we saw that he was ready to speak with me, and we had, I would say, good conversation.
I mean, the situation that you're describing there sounds absolutely frightening. What made you take such a risky journey?
It's not the first time that I meet a leader of the rebels. I met the leader of the Taliban twice. I was in the Islamic State. I was the only Western author who was 10 days in the Islamic State. I spoke with leaders of Jaish al-Islam because I think you have to speak with everybody to understand the conflict. And I spoke several times with the president, Bashar al-Assad, too. I was criticized for all my meetings. I was criticized for the meetings with Assad, and I was criticized for my meetings with ISIS, and now I'm criticized because I met a guy from Al-Qaeda. But I think we should speak with both sides and listen to them.
It's very brave that you have made the decision to look and speak to all sides. And I suppose from the public's perspective, do you have a better perception of what makes those guys tick?
This guy, this commander, didn't say something completely new. He said what we all were thinking about Al-Qaeda. He's completely convinced that he doesn't want a secular state. He doesn't want an agreement in a democracy. He wants an Islamic state. And he's very proud. He says we are very strong and they're not ready to accept any ceasefire. They want to fight till the end. And so I got an impression about their strengths. You know, there is such a gap between the government. I told you that I know the president quite well. And these rebels, that I don't see a solution how you can put these rebels, Al-Qaeda rebels, Jabhat al-Nusra rebels, together with forces or with leaders from the government. There's no way. They are so far from each other. And unfortunately, there isn't another strong opposition, a peaceful, democratic opposition. So that's a little bit the problem in this conflict.
Nevertheless, you were sitting there with people who are deemed as radicals, as murderers, and as you say, there doesn't seem to be a solution between the government and those terrorist organizations, and there are lots of victims in the middle of that. How did you feel sitting there surrounded by effectively murderers?
You know, I'm asked this question also when I meet President Assad. So I speak with people, and wars are always horrible. There's no fair war, there's no nice war, and this war is an ugly war with, I think, really crimes from both sides. But I must say the rebels have started this war, and they have a heavy responsibility. And I say also that the rebels got the money and got the support from Western allies, from the Gulf states, and they were backed by the United Nations. And it's not only this Jabhat al-Nusra Commander who says that. There are the famous Pentagon papers from August 2012, where the Pentagon, the DIA, that's the secret service of the Pentagon, says very openly that they are supporting the rebels. They are trying to get rid of Assad with the help of the rebels. They want to destroy the relation between the Shia government in Iran, the Shia government in Iraq, the Shias in Lebanon, and the Shia sect, the Alawites, in Syria. They want to get rid of him, and therefore they use the rebels. So he is, in a certain way, repeating what the Pentagon was saying 4 years ago. That's a clear strategy to support the rebels.
Well, you say to support the rebels. I mean, we've asked the US State Department about their alleged weapons supplies to Al-Nusra in Syria. Their response was quite unclear, but they admitted some allied countries might actually support terror groups on the ground in Syria. What's your take on that? You've already explained.
But this can be true. Maybe that there were allies in between, but everybody knows that they are using allies and they are allowing their allies. It doesn't matter if a Tau rocket, a Tau missile, which is an American missile, comes from another group. You know, the CIA was coordinating the weapons delivery from Turkey. And they brought the weapons to the border, and then they were distributed sometimes also to moderate, so-called moderate groups. But I have said for years, because I knew it and everybody knows it in Syria, that 1 kilometer behind the borders, these weapons were taken by terrorist groups, by Al-Qaeda, by the Islamic State. This is well known. And if I deliver weapons to a moderate, so-called moderate group in Syria, everybody knows that at the end the weapons will be in the hands of the terrorists. And I must also say that, and this commander told it too, that sometimes some radical rebels just say to get weapons, oh, now I'm moderate, I'm a member of the Free Syrian Army. They even changed the name of their group to get the weapons. This is a game that everybody knows. I would be happy if the spokesman of the State Department would be true, but it's very clear that the Americans know that their weapons will at the end be in the hands of terrorists, and they know that.
Jürgen Todenhöfer, thank you very much for your time and for coming on RT International. That's the journalist.